God, God, what is all this? Is it every single thing that these white folks bring to the internet space? Is it every single thing that you want to get answers? But anyways, trust my black people. There is nothing you bring down here that they don't give you answers. That's what's not like them. Now she's getting powerful. Hey! Welcome back to my channel. It's Sonia. Subscribe, like, comment, and share. Credits belong to the original creators of every single clips and stitches we have in our today's episode. And guys, I want you guys to watch this because let it make sense to me that you are just googling something or just doing something and then you saw this thing that you're not even supposed to bring here for us to see, but you brought it and we are giving you the answer. And tell me one reasons why I should not give you answer as well. Let's go right into this. Disclaimers, this is just for educational purposes only, and I want to say a very big thank you to every one of you liking, commenting, subscribing, sharing my videos, joining my membership, and also dropping super thanks. Oh God, there's one lady here that God will literally keep blessing you back to back. You know what you've been doing for me. God bless you. I really do appreciate you guys. But anyways, let's dive right into this video and I'll be back with commentaries. Let's go watch.
Look at this. Why the hell is the FAFSA asking what type of white I am? I don't think I have ever been asked what type of white person I am ever before. I mean, this isn't a bad thing. I'm just like, when did this start happening? Because you know what I mean? Usually you just hit white and then you move on with your day.
You guys see that video of that lady where she was basically doing her FAFSA and they were asking her what type of white she was?
Look at this. Why the hell is the FAFSA asking what type of white I am? I don't think I have ever been asked what type of white person I am ever before.
Which is crazy because the term white really doesn't even exist. Let's talk about the color white. In this case, it was to divide Africans from Europeans. The modern classification of humanity into white and black race originated primarily from the 17th to 18th century European colonialism and entitlement era. I love how those were the names of the times where basically European Americans came into America and was like, we just gonna revamp all this shit and make it all about us. I love it. I love how they gave themselves power. It was like, we're coming to this new land because we feel entitled that we own it, and we're going to come and recreate all this shit. I love the names of it. Entitlement era, scientific attempts to categorize human variation. These terms were developed to create a social and legal hierarchy that justifies slavery, colonization, and European hegemony. What does hegemony mean? Leadership or dominancy, especially by one country or social group over the other. I mean, it makes sense why white is an attitude. It literally breaks down the idea that you are literally one over the other. You're literally the best over the other. It's like, I mean, literally the psychology that they've used on us is ridiculous to think that they are better. When if you know the history of Europe, oh my God. Anyway, that's besides the point. Theodore Allen, in The Invention of the White Race, notes that early colonial records in West and Virginia referred to Europeans as English before you became white. So that's another reason why they're asking you what type of white you were, which they probably changed it now, but you are a type of European. So, but by the 1691, laws began using white to formally categorize people of European descent as a privileged group by creating the word white. So in America, that's why they use the term white, because it's basically to say, that's why I said whiteness is not a real thing. It's an attitude. It's a privilege. It's a badge. It's like, oh, you're white. So that's why I said whiteness is a idea. It's a thought. It's something to divert you to say that you're not black in so many words. But the fact that she felt like she had never been asked that's the reason why, because at one point, that is all you were considered as a white, because all people had to know is check that box, is that you're white, and you were able to get whatever the fuck you wanted, because as long as you're white, again, it's an attitude, it's a status, it's a privilege, it's a badge. So that's why I always tell people, like, if you can't tap into your white privilege, if you trying to be my friend and you want to tap into your white privilege and you think you don't have your white privilege, you can't talk to me, because white privilege is a badge. It's a badge that gets you into whatever the fuck you want. And if I'm around you as a black person who's a non-white and you can't tap into your white privilege around me, get the hell away from me. I'm just kidding. That's a joke. That was a part of a joke. Either way, I just wanted to say basically that's why she felt like she had never been asked that, because at one point you did not have to identify with your European ancestry. You just had to be said that you were white. So that's why she's never been asked what type of white she was, even though there is different types of Europeans. There's a lot. There's an entire continent full of different European countries, and one of them, you belong to one of them. You have to claim one of them. But sometimes I feel like they just don't want to. They want to, because when you look at their history, I mean, Jesus, why would you want to identify with any of that? Their history is horrible. I'm just going to be honest. But yeah, pretty much.
Look at this. Why the hell is the FAFSA asking what type of white I am? I don't think I have ever been asked what type of white person I am ever before.
Maybe because they've been asking us what kind of black we are for decades. African black, American black, Caribbean black. Are you Trinidadian? Are you Bahamian? Are you Ghanaian? Are you Nigerian? Are you Jamaican? Are you just regular black? Oh, and don't be Hispanic, because what kind of Hispanic are you? Or is it Latino? Are you from Mexico, Cuba, Puerto Rico, Argentina, Ecuador, Brazil? Who are you? Where are you from? Now it's finally gotten to y'all, and y'all don't like it? Oh. Now they've denigrated us and taken all our things from us, including, affirmative action, called us DEI, taking our grants, our loans, our scholarships, special clubs, special programs on campus. But now they're coming for you. Because why do you think they're collecting that data? Why? Remember how they used to treat the Irish and the Italians and the Polish? Check your history. When they have no one else to blame and no one else to point fingers at. Tag, you're it. You're next.
I not tell y'all. I said this a year ago. I warned y'all, if you give full control to the sheeple steeple people, it's only a matter of time before they start fighting amongst themselves because they don't agree on theology. There are thousands of denominations. None of them agree with each other. And I also said they're going to start picking through the different types of white once they're done coming for us. And it's already happening. I know for sure it's already happening on the FAFSA forums. Y'all can let me know in the comments where else you've seen this or if you've seen this yet. But they are already asking Team White to now differentiate what kind of white they are. Are you German, French, English? And watching these people suddenly go, wait a minute, why is it asking me that? I've never been asked to define that before. I'm not even sure. I thought plain old white was good enough. Darling, that's just phase one. Just wait until they start deciding who counts as white enough and who's going to be the new brown. This is not new. They've done it before. The Italians, the Irish, the Scottish. They're slowly bringing back that white on white discrimination. It's not funny. Oh, it's them Italians again. We told you. Enjoy.
Look at this. Why the hell is the FAFSA asking what type of white I am?
We told y'all. Like, you guys. It just gets to a point. And it's like, even with this, I know so many white people are going to see this and they're like, well, what's the issue? And it's like, Black, Indigenous, and other people of color will be yelling and saying, you are in danger, girl. You are in danger, girl. And they still won't listen. My God. And it comes down to this. So many people currently racialized as white believe that racialization is eternal. It is immutable. It is secured. And it's none of those things, because race and racialization and racialized caste systems under empire are never secured positions. the way race works and how it maintains itself as a position of oppression and power and the machinations of all that has to be ephemeral in order for these kind of systems to keep reproducing themselves and reperpetuating themselves, right? You can't have everybody come into the fold when the whole entire point is to ensure that there is a consolidated power and a consolidated group in which that power can lie. Right? And so when you're seeing this breakdown now where people need to know what kind of white they are, like, just know, you see those people getting swept up by ICE, you see all those people getting detained at the border, you see those people getting disappeared, you're about 5 seconds away from being those next people. Like, just, right? There's a reason why people write books like this. I suggest you read. There's a reason why there's articles like the one on Anscape called White Immigrants Weren't Always Considered White and Acceptable. Italians, Greeks, Poles, Hungarians, Slavs, and other European groups had to overcome prejudice over many years, right? There's reasons why people are writing these things to you. To let you know, girl, you are in danger. You're in danger. And because the vast majority of white people never have to think about race, never have to think about their own history, never have to think about the way in which this country was formed and who it was formed for, they believe themselves to be above the very systems that they buy into. And it's like, my love, I'm going to hold your hand firmly when I say this. You are 1 second away from being snatched up on the street. Period. Because this country has never let y'all forget. This is a white, Anglo-Saxon, Protestant, Christian country. Full stop. That's why there's always fights between all the white girlies, whether the Catholics, the Latter-day Saints, the Puritans, all these kind of things. People are always trying to fight because a lot of white people are trying to fight for the top-ranking positionality in the country. And unfortunately, right, when the rules around race and the boundaries around race were already drawn for you, you're never going to be able to fight your way to the top of that. The only thing left to do is to join the people you consider below yourself in the racialized caste system and actually fight to dismantle all of this, to let all of this stuff go. And white people still don't get it. They still willingly participate in these things. They still willingly act as members of the state, members of empire, because they think one day they'll occupy that spot. And I want to say it again. They think they'll occupy that spot. I want to say it again. Unless you are a white, Anglo-Saxon, Protestant Christian, who are the people who founded, right, this occupation of this part of Tortoise Island, you will never, ever hold that positionality in this country. And they will be damn sure to make sure that you never hold it. And that's why currently right now, power is being consolidated. It's being shrunken down. It's being taken out of the hands of white people. That's why they're saying, girl, there's no more time to give the everyday old white person extra resourcing, all that kind of stuff. No, we're taking that all too. And then once they've taken that all too, they'll go ahead and start attacking the other white people who stand in the way from even more acquisition of power, more consolidation of power. And then y'all will be sitting here going, how did we get here? You got here because you did not understand your history. You don't understand how violent the United States is. And you believe that your positionality is secured. And it is always, 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 always far from ever being secured. It is always far away from being secured. Because you cannot have race and racialization and racialized caste systems reproduce themselves if they stay stable. You have to always be able to re-erect the boundaries, be able to push people out, bring people in. That's how these things maintain themselves.
Keep saying that they're coming for you next. It's not going to take long until it's at your doorstep. Specifically in the context of who are they going to make you hate once they've deported all of the brown people? I'm going to show you something that I just screenshot from someone else's post that stopped me in my fucking tracks. But first, let me tell you about how Whenever I had to fill out demographic information in school, starting in kindergarten, the options were Caucasian white, Black, non-white Hispanic, Native American, and by the way, non-white Hispanic was non-white / Hispanic, as if those were somehow the same thing, Native American, Asian / Pacific Islander. Similarly, I didn't think that those were the same thing. And then there was the other. As a child, wanting to just be as honest as possible, I chose Asian / Pacific Islander. But I didn't think that those were the same thing. As you know, I'm Persian, a region that is located in West Asia. That's West Asian, not Middle Eastern. Middle East, according to who decolonized that. So anyway, later in life, I find out from someone, very accusatorily, by the way, that I was supposed to be putting white this whole time. And I'm like, white? And they're like, yeah, you're literally Caucasian. And I'm like, yeah, but have I had a Caucasian experience? Was I the girl with the stinky food at lunch who then had to beg her mom to make her white people food? So I went from delicious rice and stew dishes in a Tupperware to bologna and cheese because I was too embarrassed. Was I treated like a pariah after 9/11? Did kids always ask me, starting in elementary school, whether my dad was going to school? Yes to all of these. So obviously I was surprised when I learned that I was supposed to be putting white this whole time. But ask me why I feel vindicated right now. Someone just posted a video from her FAFSA application wherein they are asking her to define what kind of white she is. German, Irish, English, Italian, Polish, French, other white? Other white? These are the ones that they hear about though. Why? A, I don't see Persian on here, and I also don't see anything West Asian on here. We're a big enough group that if they intended to make that white, it would have been white. That's why I feel vindicated. But I also feel vindicated for another reason. What do you think this is for? If I have learned nothing in the last 3-ish years, it's that they don't collect data for no reason. What do you suppose this is for? Why would FAFSA, financial aid for college, care about what kind of white you are? I wonder if this would be a good time to remind everyone of how they used to treat some of these whites in this country. Not that long ago. Irish, the Italian, the Polish, I think. Well, I guess to a certain extent, the German and the French too, but never the English. Why do you suppose? Back to my original point. Remember when we said it was going to end up on your doorstep eventually? And maybe not yours directly. Maybe you'll be, but your progeny. You don't see a future where 50 years from now, after they've collected sufficient data and they've deported all the brown people, you don't see a future where they'll be like, the Irish, they're taking all of the seats in college. That's why your kid's not in college. Those French are taking all of the federal funding for college. Your kid should be getting the scholarship money, not them, or the grant money, not them. You don't see a world where that's going to happen? You think of another reason why they'd be collecting this data? There's going to come a time when there's not enough brown people left to blame them for why your life sucks. Babe, you didn't go to college and you don't make shit for money because the Irish and the German and the Italian and the Polish, they're the ones taking all the good seats in school. They're the reason why your kid's not getting an education. You get it? They have to make you hate someone. Because if you're not distracted by your hate, how are they going to continue to hoard all the resources and money for themselves? Wake up, babes.
Why the hell is the FAFSA asking what type of white I am? I don't think I have ever been asked what type of white person I am ever before.
Hey yo, so this is bad. I don't know if you know, but not everyone with pale skin was considered white throughout the 18 and 1900s. For example, in American history, Southern and Eastern European countries were considered white. Like Irish, Italians, Greek, Polish, Jews, Slavs. They were considered not fully white because they are not racially related to the Anglo-Saxons, including Arabs and Czechs like Czechoslovakia. They were not in the process of becoming white until like the mid-20th century during and after World War II. This is when they started opening the door to Eastern and Southern Europeans. This is also around the same time America decided to open its borders to allow Asian immigrants into the country after the Civil Rights Bill. When the Civil Rights passed, so did the borders and the opportunity to become white. This is where the model minority myth came into play for Eastern Asians. Let's scale this. First is the whiteness of Anglo-Saxon descent. They get all the power and the superiority. 2 is Southern and Eastern Europeans. Number 3 is the model minority of Eastern Asians, not Southeast, not Southern. Then it became Arabs, then Hispanics, then Native Americans, then black people. This was the newfound racial hierarchy after World War II and the Civil Rights Movement. This was the best way they can maintain order, superiority, supremacy, and all. First, it was white Anglo-Saxons and everybody else at the bottom. But there was a problem, and that was strength in numbers. It was more of all of us than them, so they tipped the scales to benefit their power. Now here we are in 2026, they are now in the position where they can quietly segregate the rest of Southern and Eastern Europeans. It was expected for black people to get hit first, but they didn't do that because it was expected of them. They hit the Hispanic and Latinos first, then Native Americans, then black people, then Arabs, then Asians, and now they're hitting Eastern and Southern Europeans. It was all strategic. We were all a target from day one. None of us were safe. And anybody who thought so was clearly fucking delusional. But anyways, I hope this helps. This is Onyx and I'm gone.
So funny. I don't know even if I should say this on a podcast, but I didn't know that I was white.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah.
I thought that was American thing.
Exactly.
No, seriously.
Yeah, you can hear it like, oh,
exactly
he's white.
for the same reason that you're talking about. And I remember in 2015, I lived in different countries. Yeah. And I opened bank accounts in the different countries, meaning like I really lived there.
Right.
I was never in my life asked
right.
to fill out what I am till 2015 of my lifetime when I came to United States of America.
Racist it is.
And there was in front of me, what race are you? And I legit don't know. No, the bank lady told me, oh, like you are white. And then I looked and I was like, no, because I'm not American. I literally thought it's reserved for the Americans exactly for that reason that you're talking about. So I was so confused because I was not born in this country. It ended up marking other because at that time I really was not confident enough to be like, I don't know what my race is. Like, I'm so confused.
Can anybody tell me when they changed the FAFSA to want to know what kind of white we are?
How many times do we have to tell you that white and black are legal statuses? They have nothing to do with race or nationality. They're collapsing this fakery that we live in. They're bringing the real to the forefront. So those of y'all who don't know about nationality, yes, you were German at one time before you became white in America. You were Irish one time before you became white in America. Just like we're Moorish before we became black in America. And it's all a color of law construct that's being torn down. The federal government is based on that construct. So yes, things are about to change. You're going to notice them in the paperwork. You're going to notice this stuff happening. So all I can say is get your ducks in order. Nationality is the order of the day. And if you don't know what nationality is, you need to go look it up.
Noticed a big change on the race question on the FAFSA form for this year. So in previous years, I'm going to click this because I'm also Asian, but in previous years, if you were Hispanic or Latino, you would click here and you would click Mexican or whatever your ethnicity was, but it would still make you put whether or not you were white. But this year, you don't have to put that at all. So hopefully that will cause less stress for everybody. But like last year, as I mentioned, that question is, or any of those demographic questions aren't necessarily being used for anything. It's more to gain knowledge of the demographics of people who are applying to college and applying for financial aid. But again, go ahead and fill that out as you feel is appropriate. You shouldn't be getting penalized for any of the demographics.
As always, for your kindness and for your insights. What kind of white are you? Now, that's an uncomfortable question for all of us to ponder, no matter our ethnicity, but especially if, like me, you're labeled as being white. You know, yesterday was day 4 in my sociology class, and I asked my students, raise your hand if you ever heard somebody say that Asians are better at math, and almost all the hands went up. And then I paused, and then I asked them, what do you mean by Asians? Puzzled looks, and then some comments. The discussion we had went almost 30 minutes. In that conversation, I point out, there are 51 different countries in Asia. Are all Asians the same? And then I asked them, if you were born in Asia and then you came to this country, are you still Asian? But if you were born in Vietnam, what makes you Asian instead of Vietnamese? And if you have a child born in this country and they've never been to Asia, what makes those people Asians as well? In fact, what makes us call those people, or even them? And then I show them a video clip, and the clip is called, What Kind of Asian Are You? It's hilarious, but profoundly important, which brings us back to the original question. What kind of white are you? Because if your ancestors are from Scotland or Germany or Ireland or England or France, they weren't white. You and I know there's no such thing as race biologically. So when did your ancestors become white? Or more importantly, why did they become white? How did they become white? And how did the concept of being white actually persist for so long in our country, knowing it doesn't even exist? You know, most of us who are white never even think about the concept of us being white. In fact, we probably never ask ourselves, is there even such a thing as white culture? But my friends, if like me, you're committed to remaking this country, we can never ignore the elephant in the room. How race was created in the first place, and along with it, how whiteness came to be. It's an uncomfortable conversation. But if we're committed to remaking this country, we have to confront that question on a regular basis. You guys be well, and just know we're all in this together. Have a great start to your Thursday.
Look at this. Why the hell is the FAFSA asking what type of white I am?
Oh, okay, so those of us who know anything about history or have degrees in poli-sci or both are like freaking the hell out right now at that questionnaire from FAFSA. Do you guys know how Polish people, Italian people, and Irish people used to be treated? Especially when you stop and think about who his mom was. Oh my God. Oh my God. There's only like 2 answers to that question that doesn't immediately put you on a list. And one of them is still kind of sus, being Germany. So yeah, answer English or else. We're all gonna die. We're all cooked. This is the nervous laughter into a collapse here in just a few minutes. Oh my God, we're gonna die. Oh God damn.
Anyways, welcome back. So since she decided that she is going to make herself public out there, so let's just give her some little bit of history as well, because you know a lot of these white folks just think that that's name tagging themselves as white is making them something special, but the white that I know is color as far as I'm concerned, right? But anyways, let's forget about that, because we already have a lot of people that has literally been able to break down. Let's understand from where it even started from, right? The idea of calling white Americans did not exist at the beginning of American history. It developed gradually, mainly as a social and political constructions tied to colonialism, slavery, and power. How it started and why it got stuck. Early Americans, people weren't white yet, 1600s. When Europeans first came to the Northern America, they did not describe themselves as white. They identified by nationality or region. English, Irish, Dutch, Spanish, Christian slash Protestant slash Catholic. Skin color wasn't the main identity maker. Europeans often dislike or distrust each other more than they focused on race. At the same time, indigenous people were identified as Indians. Africans were identified as Negroes or by ethnicity, Yoruba, Hausa, etc. Let's talk about the slavery that created racial categories, which is the late 1600s to 1700s. The concept of white emerged primarily to justify African slavery. As slavery expanded, colonial elites needed a clear way to separate enslaved Africans from Europeans. Law begins to divide people by race instead of class. Key changes: Europeans were legally grouped together as white. Africans were labeled black and enslaved for life. Law granted white people privilege, land ownership, legal rights. This helped to prevent poor Europeans and enslaved Africans for uniting against elites. White become a legal status, not just a description. Then let's talk about the white, where it becomes an identity in the 1700s to 1800s. Over time, being white meant full citizenship, legal protection, voting rights for men. The US Constitution do not define race by its law. Important example, the Naturalization Act of 1790 limited citizenship to free white person. Court had to decide who counts as white. Ironically, groups like Irish, Italians, Jewish, and Eastern Europeans were not always considered white at first. They became white gradually as society changes. Now let's talk about the white American as a modern term in 1900s. The phrase white American became common in the 20th centuries when immigration increased, civilization rights movement challenges racial inequality, governments began collecting racial data. It was used to distinguish racial experience within the same nationality, talk about inequality, privilege, and discrimination. So white American means Americans and nationality. Social define white racial identity, not biology, social classification. Now let's talk about the key takeaway in all of this. White American is not an Asian or neutral category. It created to support slavery, to maintain social hierarchies, to unify Europeans under one label. Its meaning has changed over time. It's social invention, not a specific one. Less rests. This is why it was created. This was why that name was given. White, white, white. This is the white that I know of. This is the white color that I know of. And I hope this might bring that analysis have been able to help a lot of people. In fact, if you don't understand, replay it and now understand the part that I am coming from. White people, rest and let us be. Don't make it look like you are so special, so highly this and that. We are no longer in those days of slavery. That is it. We are no longer in those days of oppression. These are modern days. So the earlier you guys realize, the better. But anyways, let me know what you think in the comment section. Credit belongs to the original creators of every single clips and stitches we have in our today's episode. And if you have not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Do it, subscribe, like this video, drop me your comment, and lastly, do not forget to share. And I want to say a very big thank you to every single one of you liking, commenting, subscribing. I do not take you guys for granted. You guys are absolutely the best. And yes, with that being said, with no further ado, I do have like I say in my videos, I'm going to be saying that, and I'll see you guys in my next one. And this is just for educational purposes only. Bye for now, guys. I love you guys.